Hi and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca and it is time to work on my Heaven and Earth design painting today. So that is the top part so far. I will pull it down at the end if I remember. But yeah, it's time to get the last section done, I think, for this year. I don't think I have a WIP and Waffle. Do I have a WIP and Waffle? Hang on. I'm pulling up my calendar. No, I haven't scheduled in a WIP and Waffle for the end of December because we will be sort of closing the shop for a couple of weeks over Christmas. Hang on. Sorry, Catherine just came down and in. Yeah, so I have got some videos that I want to do between Christmas and New Year. I have got a couple of videos that I want to pop in. One of them I've actually already filmed. Go me. I had a filming session a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, one of them I've already filmed. Another one is going to be a vlog that I will film at some point in December while we're doing the December event. And then we'll have the first WIP and Waffle of the new year. So this will be the last Heaven and Earth design for 2025, which is quite weird. I'm actually hoping to get a little bit more ahead today. I'm filming this the day before it goes live, so on the Thursday. I've been busy doing all sorts of planning for next year so far this week. And we have the mystery bag launch this evening as you're watching this, so Friday the 21st at 9 p.m. and then this weekend I'm going to film a vlog packing those up, which will be the last vlog. It will be the last, no, it won't be the last vlog for the year, but it will be the last vlog before the event. So yeah, I'm going to film that this weekend. So I think what I'm also going to do this week is, after filming this video, I think I'm going to film next week's WIP and Waffle, which will kind of be super early, but I have lots of comments to go through. So I definitely have things to chat to you all about. And it will give me sort of the week will be a little bit clearer, so I can actually start filming the December event at the end of next week, and I'll just get myself set up for it, and yeah, we will be starting the December event very soon, which I'm very excited for. And yeah, it just gives me a chance to sort of tie things up before I need to be filming that on the daily basis. But yeah, it's been a good productive week so far, albeit mainly prep for January, but I'm definitely getting quite a few things ticked off my list, which is nice, and I'm hoping to do the same throughout December. Get some more things finalised, get some more things looked into. And I'm very excited for the mystery bag sale at the weekend. Well, on Friday. I'm packing it over the weekend. I'm actually really looking forward to packing it over the weekend. It'll be nice to sort of be able to get them all to ship out on Monday, hopefully. So pack at the weekend and just ship on Monday is my plan. It will depend on how much sort of other is ordered at the same time, but it should be good. Right, comments, etc. Let's get on to comments, because there's a lot of black in this, which makes me think once this black is done, how quick will it actually be to get through the rest? But Blossom Chops, she says she likes the idea of having something to look forward to after Christmas. She says when their daily Advent fix has finished, as it always feels flat around that time of year. Yes, actually that's what I will have. I don't have loads of footage from prepping the Advents, but I do have some. So maybe what I'll actually do, I have 2 different vlogs that were filmed around Advent. So one of them is actually me sorting out the warehouse after I did my big rearrange, but of course there was loads of Advent stuff in there, so I couldn't show it. So what I think I'll do is, in fact, rather than filming throughout that week in December, though I may still film one in December, we'll see if I have any interesting days. Oh, I think the door's gone. Is Catherine grabbing it? No, hang on. Sorry about that. It seems to be the WIP and Waffle for interruptions today. But door's answered. Everything is now sorted. So let's see how we go getting this finished. I do feel like I need to push my black drills every now and then, just to try and make sure they line up. Give them a bit of a nudgeroo. There's definitely the odd one that feels thicker than the rest. Oh, I tried to do a line then to sort of show you. But when I've got my black ones lined up in the tray, I'm not sure if you can see this top row here, the top row that I've got at the moment, there's like 4 smaller ones and then the other ones seem a bit bigger. So I am trying to make sure that when I come across like a drill that seems to stick out a little bit more than the others, that I use the potentially smaller ones. And there's like a fraction of a millimetre in a lot of these, but I've got a couple here that definitely need smaller ones, so I'm trying to make sure that I sort of use those and stop my line getting even more out of control. And there's definitely, I'm just going to pop a couple more while I can actually see them quite clearly, or more clearly than I normally can. I'm just going to pop a couple more on the ones that needed it, just to pull everything back into alignment a little bit. And sometimes I do have to play that little bit of a juggling game, more so with the black drills. Now, whether that's just because black are notoriously known for not being as good a quality as the rest of the drills, though some suppliers, they are mighty fine. And Ever Moment used to be one of those, but this batch don't seem to be as good. So whether it be because it is the black drills, or whether it be, and it could be partly both, is the fact that there's just so much blockage of black, more so than there is of the other colours. The other colours are spread out, so if the quality is not as good, you can sort of get away with it a little bit more. But anyway, we've fixed that a bit to a certain extent. They're definitely more lined up than they were. Crafty Erin, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, why is it that you work on chart to art canvases flat? She says, is there a reason, or is it just preference? It's partly a reason, but it's a reason due to my preference of the way I work, if that helps. It is because I want my tablet with my chart very close to where I'm working. So if I had this on an easel and had my chart to the side, I would have to be looking from my chart to my canvas to make sure I'd got the placement right, the count right, all that sort of stuff right to place my diamonds down. So it's primarily due to distance. So I find it much easier, especially when it gets to bitty bits, and not just now where I can go, okay, I'm doing a whole row, so this next row I'm starting one in and I'm going right to the end, and I don't have to look at the chart again then for the whole row because I know I'm just going to the end. So for that, it's not as important that it's flat, but when it gets to doing other colours, so say 169, and I've got a little bit here and a little bit here, and I'm referencing lots of different points, I find it easier to have it as close as possible to the actual section that I'm working on, so I can just do a quick glance up with my eyes. I'm not moving my whole head, which could move my arm slightly. I'm literally just glancing up and glancing back. So yeah, that's my preference, is to be able to just flick my eyelids in effect up, check where it is that I'm supposed to be going, and then flip back to the canvas in the quickest possible way. Which means I find that easier when it comes to a chart onto a blank canvas. So therefore, because of that, I work on them flat. I could possibly rig something up to hold my tablet on my easel above the section that I'm working on. But I feel like I'd need potentially some sort of clamp or something that then I'd fear it would be too strong a clamp and possibly could damage my screen on my tablet. I much prefer my tablet to not have anything gripping it in any way. So yeah, there could possibly be something that could get rigged up to work, but I don't feel like it's a problem that needs solving, if that makes sense. It's not something that's going to make it hugely easier for me. When working on a chart to a blank canvas, they already take more mental thinking to do it that way. Like it's still relaxing to me, but it does involve thinking, more so than a normal canvas does. So because of that, I only tend to do one section at a time, whatever that section may be. So for this, it is the size I like on my screen. So it is 600 diamonds are placed. On the actual official chart to art kits, I do like 1 day, as they call it. So day 1 or day 2. And I find that's about an hour and a half, something like that, for me to complete a section, depending on which kit it is. And for that is enough for me as that day's worth of diamond painting. I really, really enjoy doing all the chart to art kits. That's why I have them all. So regardless of what the design is, I absolutely thoroughly enjoy the process of them. but as much as I absolutely love the process of them, once I've done one section for the day, so I've currently been working on a chart to art kit, but as I've done my section, I'm then done, either done diamond painting for the day or definitely done with my chart to art for the day. And if I want to do more diamond painting, I will pull out my other diamond painting, so in this case Spaceman, and I will do some of that instead. I don't tend to find that I do more than one section in a sitting. I have done on occasion, mainly when they had the Christmas one, where I tried to do one section a day throughout December, and therefore there would be some days that I did two because I hadn't had a chance to do the day before. But that's very rare. That was sort of a mini challenge, I suppose, I set myself. I don't necessarily think I would do that again. I much prefer doing one. It pulls on my back a little bit more than working on an easel, which again is fine for one section, but is not as enjoyable for multiple sections. It's just not as comfy a position. So that's the reason I work on it flat. Doesn't mean you have to at all. You just may be like me and actually find it easier to be able to just glance up and see where your symbol needs to go. Plus, by having the chart sort of in the middle-ish, you've got sort of a reference as to whether you're working on the left or the right. Even though my section that's uncovered is obviously bigger, it still gives me a really good reference to make sure that I'm putting them in the right place. Doesn't always happen, but I try. I try to put them all in the right place. Okay, I'm actually done with that one. This is actually a small one, so I am just gonna bob that one on there, because I don't have loads of places now that need particularly smaller drills, but there is still the odd point where it's sticking out a little bit more than it is on other sections. But that also gives me my stopping point in this instance. I'm going straight across, and I know my gaps will sort themselves out once I put in the other diamonds, because they don't seem to have as many big ones. So Crafty Erin also says, she's thinking of trying a charted canvas, and she normally diamond paints on an easel. She also says, if there's any chance your reason will simplify the process of learning a new task, she said it would be great. Thank you for all that you do. And then she also says, editing me here, yes, the trays are here and they're being loved and used. Good to know. This is currently the set this is the tray and pen I've been using for my current chart to art, which I must admit this last week I've just been working on that, or the last few days should I say. I've done one section a day, and that's sort of been enough diamond painting for me at the moment, because quite often I don't get started until about 8 o'clock, and I sort of find it's like an hour and a half, and it works out as just enough time to sort of then think about stopping and not getting carried away. Okay, I actually want to go this side, don't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm done. Done with the black for today. It's a pretty beefy chunk of black. I'll have to see how much black ends up over here. I know it's not a solid block anymore, but it's definitely going to be a fair bit, I think. Cat Lady, she says she has kitted up a few paintings. She says she has a few that she really wants to do. She says, but they are rather large. It's often the case that it's the big ones you want to do. You forget how long they're actually going to take, how much space they're going to take up, and all of that jazz that goes with it. She says December will be busy as they are expecting the boys. She says so there is rather a lot of prep to be done. She says she needs to make her mind up soon as hospital appointments are going to take up a fair bit of November. She said today she was doing all the 3865 on the tile painting, she says, while she was following along with me. That's a decent amount of 3865 on that one as well. The pattern is absolutely gorgeous, but then filling in the background can take a little bit. Though having said that, I've quite enjoyed that. I've been doing that with my current chart to art. Sometimes, not on every section, but sometimes it works out best to sort of do the rest and then have a chunk of one colour to do later on. And yeah, it's been really nice to just sort of sit there and just fill in that chunk without having to change colours and think about anything. Completely mindless, just sit there and fill in all the gaps. It's always fun to do. Right, one more. So I'm just using the lid because it's like less than 5 or 6 is when I decide to just use the lid rather than the tray. Oh, Luna has just decided to make the jump over the dining chair so that she can sit behind me while I'm filming. She's been prowling around as though she wanted me to turn my chair round to allow her to get up. And I didn't, so she's just decided she's going to jump up anyway. Also, if you can hear a little whirring in the background, I'm sorry, it's my heater. It is freezing in the UK at the moment. I've not had snow up north or up here yet, but it's probably imminent. Apparently it did snow. Somebody told me it did snow yesterday morning, but it was about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Somebody they knew was working, so they were awake, and they saw it snow, but then it was followed by rain as the morning went on, so all the snow disappeared. But I know there's quite a few areas in the UK that have had snow. I don't want it yet. In fact, I don't want it at all, but definitely don't want it yet. Drama free. She says, maybe this one is called Out of This World by Wumbles. Yes, my Spaceman painting that I call Spaceman is actually officially called Out of This World. It can be very rare that I actually remember the exact name of a painting, unless it's like obvious. Unless it's an obvious, makes complete sense, like if this one was called Spaceman. Sometimes I often have to train myself as to what paintings are called, especially when I end up giving them my own name in my head, and then I have to try and remember the right one. So I will try to remember that that's the real name, but I can't promise anything. Ooh, don't you even think about going on that painting. Had a drill that decided it wanted to place itself in the wrong place. She said it's one of her favourite artists, she says, and if so, she says it is out of stock temporarily. She says phew. That is the thing sometimes. I go through phases, so I've definitely had some phases where I've ended up adding a lot of diamond paintings to my stash, and then some of them it does take, in effect, ages for me to actually be able to use them or do them, just because they all take so much time and they all take a lot longer than what I think. And yes, sometimes it does end up that they can be out of stock by the time I get to do them. And sometimes even when I'm doing them quite quick, they end up being out of stock. But if it is one that you love, you can just sign up for notifications or keep an eye out for it coming back. And then treat yourself at a later date, or decide that you no longer are that interested in getting it and save yourself some pennies. Tends to work out one way or the other. Kim, she says she thought for sure that I was going to do the blue Christmas painting when I ended up starting Spaceman. Kim, I was extremely tempted, especially because our new couch that should be arriving at the end of this month, hopefully. So far they're saying it's due to arrive at the end of this month. Is a blue, and we did pick up some Christmas decorations the other week that are blue. So for my Christmas tree, I have a variety of ornaments that are all individual, so I don't have duplicates in them, but they are all different white and silver primarily ornaments, or a mixture of the two. And then I have, in effect, like a pack of baubles that are in a colour. So for the last couple of years my tree has been like a copper colour, mixed in with all this white and silver. And the reason I do it is so that I can have a nice variety of ornaments that come out every year. Nostalgia and all that. So I can have the nostalgia of ornaments, but I can also change the colour of my tree, one, fairly cheaply, and two, easily without losing the nostalgia, because all the silver and white ornaments stay on the tree. It's just the bauble colour that changes, and it just gives the Christmas tree a whole new look without costing a fortune. And this year we picked up some blue baubles to go on the tree. So yes, I was extremely tempted to do the blue Christmas one, because it would match very nicely with my tree. However, I think the reason I didn't is, one, when I was doing the craft room, hubby was, I mentioned doing the Spaceman or Out of This World picture to go above hubby's desk, and he was keen on the idea, so I'd rather go with it. And also I didn't think I would have time to get it finished and up for Christmas, or for when the Christmas decorations go up, because it is even bigger. It's bigger than the Out of This World, so I just don't think I'll have the time unless I went on a full-on hyper focus on getting the painting completed. So yeah, that's the reason I didn't end up doing that one, but who's to say it won't end up being next year's maybe, so that I can have it up, because I'll probably have the blue on the tree for a couple of years before I think I want to change it for whatever reason. She also says, Kim says, she says her ghosts doing stuff is completed. and she has kitted up a Christmas winter painting to start on for November the 1st. She says she's not doing an event. She said it just happened to work out that she would start it on that date. She says she won't get it done before the Zesty Advent event. She says, but she thinks it's wintry enough to continue in January. And yeah, that is the benefit of a winter painting, is it not? Then again, you may also find that you want to do more diamond painting after doing our event painting for the day. And that's when I always think it's handy to have another painting on the go. So once you've done the event painting, if you feel like carrying on, you've got your winter one to carry on with. And you can still do your section a day. Nellie, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she was thinking the same as me, which is to put my diamond painting tools in my trolley. She says it will make it a lot easier for me. And yes, it definitely has. It's been very handy when I'm doing like a bulk amount of filming, or when I've been doing not so much my de-kittings because I hadn't set it up by then. But definitely when I was doing my kitting ups, it was handy to have it there. Also gave me chance to, you know, to realise what I may be missing having in there or want having in there. So I am happy that I've now got sort of my 2 trolleys. So both my diamond painting trolley and my sewing trolley are both sort of a bit more organised, and it's definitely made it easier when it comes to my quilting trolley as well, because there's a lot less stuff in there. I can actually get to stuff that I need. Okay, I'm very tempted to do these over here so I can tick them off, but I also think they'll be very fun to do at the end. So I think I'm going to go by squares. So I'm going to fill in this square because I'm now just putting this in all the gaps. I do quickly look up and reference this every now and then. Not so much for sort of every drill placement, but definitely just to check I've not sort of got a gap where I shouldn't have one. Like I missed a drill somewhere. Or missed one of the colours, marked it off when I hadn't actually done it. So I do quickly check it, but I don't check it all the time. But it's quite nice filling them in one square at a time. Sutap, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she has just ordered and received a Heaven and Earth design canvas pattern and drills. She said, and she started working on it this week. She said it's very tedious and requires a lot of concentration. Yes, it definitely does require concentration, especially if it's not something you've done before. It does get easier. But yeah, it's a different way of thinking when you're doing it, and a normal diamond painting will definitely give you more mindless diamond painting than doing a chart. That's for sure. She says she has gained more respect, she says, and awe for me. I do think I have the brain that can cope with it as well, though. Like, I do think for some people it is harder than it is for me. I think some of it depends on how your brain is wired. But I've done counted cross stitch for years, so there's all sorts that ends up sort of going on in my head when I'm doing this, and you know how I think of like a set of 3 that's like an L compared to a row, compared to, yeah, there's all sorts of things that float around in my head that make life easier for me. Just random things that I think of. and I now just do them subconscious. She says, how in the words can you carry on waffling while working on your heaven and earth design? Very much by the fact there's a couple of things that I do while chatting that may or may not be apparent. There'll be times that they're apparent, and there'll be other times that you just won't quite twig that I'm trying to help myself out, should we say, to be able to do both of them. So when I read somebody's comments, quite often, depending of course on the topic, but if it's like a couple of lines of text in a comment, for some reason that sticks in my brain a lot better than a huge body of text. So I'm always better with short paragraphs or short one sentence or two, and then a gap, and then the next part of the chat. And when I have comments like that, I can find it a lot easier to sort of read a sentence and start saying the sentence, but having the rest in my head ready to be able to say. So my brain has actually, or my head has actually gone back to looking at the canvas while I'm saying it. I'm not looking at my computer screen word for every comment. And then I will go back and read the next sentence before I then come back and in effect reading out while doing two things. You'll also find that sometimes I get to the end of reading out a comment and of course chatting about said comment, which means I don't need to be looking at my computer at all. And you'll find me I'll be on one of the smaller sections. I think I did it earlier and with the black, and I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And it's like I'm filling the time in the waffle because I need to concentrate on filling in those 5 before I can go read the next comment. So I sort of fill in the time that way as well. So there's a couple of different things. But yeah, often I will read a comment or read a sentence out loud of a comment that I've read, and then when I'm speaking it out loud, I'm actually looking at my canvas. I'm not looking at my computer screen. It's only when it's huge bodies of text that I sometimes struggle, because especially if I read the first couple of sentences and move away while I'm saying them, I lose my place when I go back, and you'll hear me and ah when I go back because I can't find where I was up to. Darrow be punked. She says, happy to see the new project. She says the colours are beautiful and she's excited to see my progress on this painting in the future. And that's on Out of This World, which yeah is a gorgeous painting, and I actually haven't worked on it that much in the last week because I've sort of been a little bit addicted to doing my chart to art, but I am hoping to sort of get some chunkier evenings in soon to work on it, and then I'll definitely be moving over and working on that. Ooh. Now I've got one diamond here with a little bit of a nub on the end, so I'm actually not planning on using that, and it looks as though my other 2 diamonds are going to be exactly what I need to finish this, and they are. So let me mark that off and pop my little diamonds away so I can sort of show you where I'm up to. In fact, let me have a look. What's the next bit like? Oh no, we've definitely got something going on further over. We do have a bit of black, but we don't have like a huge chunk of black. So to highlight black on the next section, that's nowhere near as bad. So we've definitely got something going on. So let's move that out the way. Piling stuff up over in the corner. and let you see sort of where we're up to. So here's my little, I forgot to bring my little trash pot out. But this is where we are up to. We are definitely getting there. And this is still pretty flat. There's a couple of little bumps that push down just because the black diamonds are so condensed. So condensely squashed in there. But they're not stopping the painting itself lying flat. So yeah, we've got, I don't know how far down here it goes. I don't think it goes down the full canvas, but I can't remember how far off it goes. But I am loving the way this is turning out so far. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I will get to more of your comments next, well, what will be next Friday's WIP and Waffle, which I am hopefully going to film this afternoon, though we'll have to see. I've got a few orders to pack first, and then we'll be very, very close to working on the Advent event, which I'm very excited for, and I can't wait to sort of get started and feel like it's really nearly Christmas. The Advent event is always what triggers me to like, it's nearly Christmas. Like, it's the December, it's the opening of the Advent calendar, the tree will go up at some point, but even when it's not up, the beginning of December gets me excited. So hopefully you'll join me for next week's WIP and Waffle. And of course there's some videos between now and then. I'm just pushing down any diamonds that I've spotted have popped up. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.